watching her city unravel and sensing echoes of an older story no one was telling. What she found wasn't in any textbook, yet it shaped her community long before she was born. That silence pulled her into years of digging, conversations with elders, scraps of memory, forgotten archives, all pointing to a chapter of South African history that had quietly slipped from public view. From that pursuit came Riot, her debut novel, a bold blend of historical truth and imagination that reopens a door our country once closed. At just the tender age of 20 years of age, yes, 20 years old, with directing, producing, and storytelling already under her belt, Alia arrives not just with a book, but with a voice ready to challenge what we remember and what we choose to forget. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did. Thank you so much for having me on air today.
Awesome stuff. Thank you so much for joining us. So just to get it right, just give me that book quickly. One second. So the book is called Riot, and it's written by, I'm so nervous. Alia Khan Kumantarakis. Is that right?
That's correct.
Perfect stuff. All right. It says here, it's a controversial history written boldly with an authentic eloquence that grips you to the end. Beautiful. That was a review by Zahir Ismail. So let's talk about this book that you have put together at a very young age. Alhamdulillah. So, yes. What? Show them. Yeah. Sorry. And on here. Yeah. Show them. They're looking. Comments are being made. Let's see the book. Okay. Let's see what you're talking about here. I forgot. Now we're going it's not about the voice, it's about the visuals as well. So let's just rewind just a little bit. Talk to us about yourself, where you are today.
Okay. So I'm half Greek and half Indian. And
well, that surname gives it away.
That's where the surname comes from. I've just graduated from film school. I got my BA in motion picture and medium. So I majored in directing and producing films.
Nice.
I studied in New York Film Academy in Los Angeles.
Wow.
Worked in Universal Studios.
Wow.
And now I've just opened my own production company and launched my debut novel.
Sure. That's all. And how young are you? 20 years of age?
20.
Yeah. People are still trying to find themselves at 30 and you're rewriting books. Alhamdulillah, that's a great achievement indeed. But what kind of environment? Yeah. There we go. That's the audience. So what kind of environment were you sort of exposed to growing up that sort of led you to where you are today, that path that you made and the decisions that you made? I mean, who were you surrounded by? Tell us.
I think my biggest inspiration has always been my mother. She's actually in studio with us today, sitting in the corner.
I said she's your sister. She's like, yeah. Hi, Mom. Awesome.
Well, ever since I was little, I always wanted to go into the film industry. But at first, it started off with me wanting to become an actress. And I would perform little plays for anyone who bothered to watch.
Nice.
And slowly it grew into me wanting to be behind camera and going into the directing field, the producing field. And slowly I've found a passion for producing films rather than acting in it. And when it comes to the novel, I was just 16 at the time when the 2021 riots happened.
Yes,
that's what actually inspired me to write this novel. And I'm dyslexic, severely dyslexic.
As all filmmakers are.
As all Greeks are.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Anyway, so I have a very difficult time spelling and writing and all of those things. So my mom was actually the editor at first, and I wrote a script about the 1949 riots.
Okay.
And she edited it and gave it to Professor Dasrat Chetty, and he edited it, he reviewed it, he gave me access to the archives. But wild journey since then. But the environment that I had was very, very supportive, very uplifting. And I have them to thank for it, my parents to thank for it.
Wow. So it's amazing how our own current history that you experience sort of parallels what happens in the past. So when you dove deeper into the archives that you've mentioned, what did you unravel and how did you actually choose that particular topic to sort of research on?
So as I said, in 2021, we had the riots here in Durban. And I was 16 and I was studying history in high school at the time.
Sure.
And my mother had told me that these weren't the first times riots like this has happened in South Africa. They actually happened in 1949. And after the riots had finished, I went back to school and I spoke to my history teacher and I told her, why haven't we learned about it? Please tell us a little bit more about the topic. And she had no idea what I was talking about. A person who has studied history in that field didn't know
about the riots
in 1949. which is completely crazy because it's the second deadliest riots that have happened in South African history, just after the Soweto uprising. And if we learn about Sharpeville massacre, surely we should learn about these riots too. But anyway, they're completely erased from the history books. And so as a South African filmmaker, knowing that I wanted to go into the industry, I said, this is a story that needs to be told. And I started writing the script.
Wow.
But South Africa doesn't copyright scripts, unfortunately. So we had to turn it into a novel. And
what does that mean? They don't copyright scripts? What, do you have no like intellectual property ownership over it, or what is the whole?
We had to publish it in the national libraries for it to get copyrighted, but to publish or copyright a script in itself, South Africa doesn't do it.
Oh, okay.
No. So that's why
still getting there, still far from.
I guess so.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
So I had to turn it into a novel to get rights over my idea, make sure it's protected, because we were trying to look for sponsors for the film. I mean, at that stage, it was still a script.
Okay. That's a first, because I haven't heard of a script turned into a novel. It's normally the other way around, isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And we approached Professor Dasrat Chetty, who's a professor at the UKZN, and he gave us access to the archives, the UKZN archives. And that's where I found tons and tons and tons of theses, research, documentation on the event, because you can't find it in any history textbooks. You can't find it or much on the internet. So those theses really helped, and those documents really helped from the archives. And that's it took me 4 years after that to research it, to compile the story, to interview so many other people who have lived through the 1949 riots, and it was their stories that really added the heart and character into the novel, because it's a fictional story. The love story is fictional, but it's all based on true events.
Right.
So
I think I did read something about the lead is called Nandi. So tell us about that sort of a love story that you incorporate. I mean, it's obviously non-fiction mixed with your own fictional sort of story intertwined into the whole 1949 riots. So just give us a brief summary, a synopsis of what the story is about.
Okay, so Nandi, it starts off with 2021 during these most recent riots, and Nandi is an old lady. She's a grandmother, and she hears what's happening on television during the riots, and her hand starts shaking, which is. And I'll tell you the true stories behind that, how we got to Nandi's tics and characteristics and behaviors a little bit later. But so she hears about the riots, and she tells the stories of her youth in the 1949 riots and how she met in love. And there's so many little cultural quirks in between, like Zarek going, with arranged marriages and the samosa runs and all those, those little, those little Indian quirks.
Yes, the cultural traditions. Yeah.
So that's really exciting. And then obviously during their love story, it's set during apartheid, so it was forbidden love, and forbidden love during times like that is very dangerous. So, ultimately, their relationship symbolizes a lot of hope, a lot of resilience, but it's one of pain and it's one of remembrance.
Absolutely. So to garner something like that, I mean, what sparked the story that you chose to put into this world that we beamed through, and obviously this world that you created simultaneously? What was that sort of the idea behind the story?
Well, if you don't learn about history, you don't get taught it, you're destined to repeat it. So the reason I wrote the story and I want it to be heard is to educate the youth, firstly, and to heal the generation that it hurt in the first place. Because it's only once we understand our past and we heal from it, will we not repeat it.
Absolutely.
And the 2021 riots was a direct link to that. I mean, we didn't learn about the 1949 riots, and that's why it happened again. And we're destined to repeat it another time if we don't get taught about it correctly.
Absolutely. So what's the greatest takeaway you'd hope readers to gain from reading your book, Riot?
I just want them for the story to be kept alive. I want the memory of the people that were in it, to see how devastating it was, and to make amends, I think. Because the 1949 riots, there's a lot of controversy around it, and we don't understand it fully. We think it was between Africans and Indians. It wasn't. Africans and Indians were actually together,
Fighting side by side, yeah, for the same common cause, yeah.
Exactly. But it was because of the prejudice and the injustices from the National Party that they actually instigated and caused a separation and the riots and sparked all of this unrest. But we were fighting on the same side, and that's what I want people to understand, and for us to come together again and
not to lose that actual that goal that we had in the past, and now it's obviously changed over time. I think it is, like you mentioned, with the 2021 July unrest, there was a whole sort of segregation between what happened in Phoenix. I don't know if you remember that part.
Yes, of course.
So I think, this is definitely a book that can obviously remind us that we come from the same land, we share the same land, we fought for the same cause, and we shouldn't forget about that history, which you definitely highlighted here. So wow, well done. So talking to us, you started at 16 years of age getting into this. Those 4 years that passed, talk to us about that sort of shift. I mean, did you have moments where you wanted to pull your hair out, like, I can't do this anymore? Or did it get more and more interesting that you just got deeper and deeper into it? Like, I really want to get the story told.
I definitely think the latter. There were so many more stories. I think my editor wanted to pull his hair out because every time I interviewed someone new, they would give me their accounts and their detailed reports and things like that. And there were so many more backstories that I couldn't add into the book that I want to add into the movie, because the movie is what's coming out next.
Oh, wow.
So to all the readers, the listeners that are tuning in with us today, if you do have stories about the 1949 riots, please contact us via our website, which is www.riot1949.com, because we'd love to hear your stories, and hopefully it will be featured in the film.
Wow. So are these the type of stories that you want to tell? Like stories that we should know about, especially with our own South African history that is, like you said, was sort of washed away over time, or sort of put like shelved during time as well? Are these the kind of story that you want to tell one day?
100%. I'm so tired of hearing Hollywood stories.
Yeah.
We see the blockbusters every day, but we need to tell South African stories. We have so much of culture and richness and beautiful history that we need told. So I encourage all the writers and the filmmakers and the creatives stuff out there and tell your stories, even if it's a short one. We need more South African stories, and we need to share that with an international audience, and we need to show the world what South Africans can do.
All right. So since you are in the filmmaking industry, which filmmakers, storytellers do you look up to, or who you've looked up to when you were sort of studying or growing up in the industry?
That's a very difficult question, because the films that I like to produce and the films that I watch are very, very different.
Okay. A big contrast between the two. Okay. So like chick flicks and something else, or is it like...
Basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's okay.
The novel is so political and tense, and then I go home
wearing
and watch
different... That's the actress kind of hats, and the filmmaker hats, the different hats that you wear in the industry as well. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Winning an Oscar.
Inshallah.
I mean,
okay, we'll be there applauding you. But now, since Netflix has bought Warner Brothers and all of that, what's going to be the future of feature films and cinema? It's a constantly changing industry now. It's a scary thought. I mean, a lot of people, used to looking forward to going to the cinema because it was a gathering. There's a whole story behind it. But what's your views on this whole? Sorry, we digress just a little bit. That's part of the thing, yeah.
We have to move with the times, and I know times are changing. I loved going to the cinemas as a kid, but
fun memories.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. The popcorn, the slushies.
Yeah. I want to watch that.
Yeah, exactly. But we have to change with the times, and I think with that comes new possibilities, and I'm sure that there's going to be something very fun for us in store very soon. But we must embrace the changes.
Absolutely. The types of... When it comes to a filmmaker, what are the things that you look for most in a film? Is it the story? Do you like pinpoint the editing, the cinematography? What are things that you specialize in, or that you focus on?
It's very difficult to watch a movie comfortably now.
Now, yeah,
yes,
after you study it.
After you study it.
I can imagine.
You're dissecting every little detail. But I think the most important thing about any movie is the plot. If it's a bad story, it's going to be a bad movie regardless. But if you have a strong storyline, anything else, no matter how it's filmed, no matter how it's edited, people will always be captivated by it.
Good point, yeah.
So
Because people like to say, oh, it wasn't shot well, or that looks too local or stuff. But as you said, I think it's, if you watch a story and it grips you from the beginning to the end, then it's achieved its goal, regardless of what camera it was shot on or how it looked and felt and
I
all of that.
agree.
So when it comes to your book, what kind of tone, what kind of world did you set it in? Is it like jovial, then it gets a little bit dark, or what's the pace and the rhythm of the story that you is this the way that you would tell the story on a full medium?
No, not at all.
Is it different,
Actually.
chalk and cheese?
I wouldn't say chalk and cheese, but I do definitely think that there's a big difference. And the reason being is I grew up with Bollywood.
Oh,
Yeah, of course.
so it's just like, look like you're
break
hide
out in
behind
song.
behind a tree or something you're gonna pop out from.
No, but I mean, once you read the book and you'll see that there's a lot of Indian culture being displayed. There's a lot of Zulu culture being displayed, and I think in the movie, I want a lot of songs and dances in it.
Oh wow.
Um,
That's
Not to make
different.
it
Yeah.
cheesy,
But
but
to give more emphasis to what's being told. It's
Yeah.
sort of, yeah, I know what you mean. Now, I want to talk about the Greek aspect. I mean, Kamantarakis, I mean, you're reading a big surname there on the book.
yeah.
So growing up half Greek, what was that like? I mean, how does that also influence who you are as an individual today in this country?
I think I've always had a little bit of an identity crisis,
Yeah.
because I was too white for the Indians, too brown for the whites. But
So how did you fit in? Just
well, you just have to be yourself.
try, yeah. Just be
Yeah.
yourself.
But I don't think there was anything. I think that when it comes, no.
Have
I
you
don't
been
know.
to Greece before?
I have been to Greece multiple times.
And family
it's
there?
lovely.
Have
I
you
do
met the
have a lot of
family there?
family. Yeah, it's lovely. But my dad actually prefers Turkey rather than Greece, which I know is a little bit controversial, I guess, because it's like olden day Greece, and that's how he
Yes,
grew
it
up.
is. Yeah, yeah.
And now Greece is very touristy, so he prefers Turkey.
Is it?
Yeah.
So you'll go there often as well.
We do. Well, we plan to go more often.
Do you think you'll ever tell a story about travel, like, you get that eat, pray, love kind of vibes or something along those lines? Do you find inspiration from other lands that you've traveled to? Or is it strictly Bollywood?
No, we take inspiration from all walks of life. I mean,
Yeah.
we went to, we took a trip down the coast, and one of our drivers during the trip had told us stories about the turtles, the hatching of turtles and things like that.
Wow, yeah, yeah.
And those stories we put into the book.
Oh,
So you'll see some of those feature in there. So all the stories that you pick up along the way from all,
getting to the
Yeah.
stories that you tell as well. Yeah.
um,
So you've met quite fascinating people.
of course, but
And I'm sure you're going to meet lots more
I
along the
hope
way.
so.
Yeah.
yeah.
Where to next? What's your next story that you want to do? Or you said the film is next, and then after
Yes.
this, after the riot
Well,
and the riot for the riot, it's going to happen as well. Yeah.
yeah. There is so many South African stories. I definitely really like the somewhat political aspect of the South African stories. I think we're might do a prequel to this,
Oh,
possibly. But
you're going to like a
I've just
trilogy.
yeah, I've just written this one. It's taking 4 years. I'm not even thinking about the second one right
So you're
now.
taking a break now.
I'm taking a break. I'm working on the film.
Okay, they're
Yeah.
working on the film. So
Working on
what's
the
that
film.
process going to be like?
Well, that's my forte.
Okay.
Because that's
Oh,
what I studied.
Yeah,
No one expected me to be an author and come out with a novel.
did you expect yourself to become an author out of this?
I could
Just-
barely read and write. I'm dyslexic. I'm so dyslexic.
this is an achievement on its own, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah. Wow.
But it just goes to show that whatever you put your mind to, you can
Can be done.
accomplish.
Absolutely.
So
I like that because we always talk about the youth nowadays, it's always constantly doing other things, getting distracted by other things, and they're not focusing on what should be done. Like this is refreshing, I must say. So this is definitely inspiring. And I hope the youth that is listening right now can take some notes from Sister Alia. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hope
So
Thank you.
since the floor is yours, and if you have any sort of words of inspiration, motivation for the youth, what can you share with them? What do you live by? What do you hope that the youth of tomorrow gains from this experience, from this time, and to better themselves in the future?
A motto that I always live by is do what others don't want to do today. So tomorrow you can do what others can't.
Wow, that's powerful.
Yeah.
That's good. Sister Alia, thank you so much for joining us in our areas. Wasn't too bad
I appreciate it.
for a
Thank you, yeah.
24-minute interview.
Wow.
Is that the
I'm quite
longest?
impressed,
It's a
yes,
record?
It is.
It flew.
I'm very surprised.
So the next one will be like a whole documentary feature, maybe, perhaps. I don't know.
Only with you. This is lovely.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us.